Also Bewahrung bula, bu tango de song ta song jab bu niwa de kumbala tugu de tawa chigre new sumba de shingle ta chigres ma bu tango yi dinye jumre. Chitong kubja ngapchung ngagula jana ge pe la zumdi kala tedi kala anzo phama den zo pe khamni re khozo pageni jeni ledi kala khozo loni de chega bor su nangal lagi du kamba poni yuni Langala kuzo kangar shule su tene khala mara namshi thangmo jagi mami ki menda jamni seni chitong gubjang dimji tendela shisha ki anju nang chunju dibula makere Pagani Nepamagi Zoda Chuju Zoom Denami Mishingaji Nya Chini Lega Gosure Chitong Gubja Jachus La Europe ki project chi Bayula Leni Kozogi Pepagi Shija Gi Mimala Gosudu dik project bula pebagi pede tatanda denzola leni kuzugi pebagi pede den denzo zamling khasana chabda chini soyage chabji tendu di ha khoni nge phama 다 안주 상마 낭미 상마 바위라 수포이 바위라 조라 춘지 좀 된 레가치 예 레가 고수디가라 예파 아바기 와라 레가치 로니스 디니치니가 이게 조라 간사기 겐키니 레가치 제디가라 나랑기 냠뉴라 이 조라불라 레가 망보 얘기 조주타야 차비테이 조주타야 차비테 미유 가르킨 테 라나 잠니나라 주자 약쇼 베스트 퀄리티 네 마켓 약쇼 라 데디 탄토야기 치야 된다라 얘기 차비테이 덴디가라 디불라 소나게 수에 자당 디자인 조당 댕기 사이즈 네 탁지 덴 타사 탁지 다 덴조 망보 얘기 소지 땅이 디가라 개체쇼디 커스텀 오더 샤자 미망기 고미미 미드조기 코나서 난기 사이즈 도도 수지 도도 데네 조야게 차피테 데네 디자인 사이즈 데 상마란조기 주와타이 타디갈라 안조기 디자인 color size जो घरो जुवाताई इना या पेबागी थातांग दी टेक्निक दी निमानी फाइल खंडे थागियो ना दिगी रांचा शावा छबितेई
I don't know how many times I've seen it, but I always get totally carried away when I see it, honestly. It's not been romanced, it is really like that. And I don't know if you noticed, but in the video, you could see many women working. This is very recent. The production has changed very recently. Lots of the male people that used to work with us now go to work on construction sites in the Middle East, and so we slowly started forming the wives, the women. So it's actually pretty cool to work with ladies now, I can tell you. So Sissi Tapi, maybe first of all. Everything that sounds French always sounds very glamorous, but it's simply the initials of our two names, my wife's and myself, Cantoni and Shamzadeh, and of course Tapi is rug in French, so it's very simple. We started off in France, and we started off in our store in France, and then slowly we decided we could see the potential. So France is a lovely country, but it's very special because you've got Paris and then you've got the province. So if it's Parisian, it's cool, but if it comes from the province, it's not cool. So my wife's French, so I can say these things. So we had to move, but as much as Paris is a beautiful city, you can't live there. I'd rather live in Milan, definitely. So we moved to Milan, we moved back home to Italy. And that's when I met Daniele, who's now become an associate of Sissi Tapi, but we couldn't, CCL Tapi wouldn't sound right.
No,
so
definitely not.
And there you go. So our motto, I think it's in the next one, there you go, is born in France, designed in Milan, produced in Nepal. We are very proud of the three, specifically the last part. Nepal is very important to us because when you work in Nepal, when I started off alone, I had my rugs done also in India, for example. And Indians are great guys, but it's just the way the work is organized over there. You have everything is outsourced, so you can't really control everything, because somebody buys the yarn and then somebody colors it and somebody else does the knotting and then somebody else does the finishings, and so it's all over the place. And in Nepal, what's good is that with Jigme you have met, who's a great guy, we do everything in-house, from the buying of the yarns to the coloring, the knotting, the finishings, everything, and the shipping. So we really try and keep it in-house, so it's simple and fast and rapid. It's also something that I like to think of CCTP is the fact that we innovate, or at least try to innovate in the designs. I mean, what you see in the window displays is really quite new, but at the same time we remain extremely traditional in the craft. That means also, I always say I don't like to cheat, in the sense that we don't use acids, we don't use chemicals. We really, you saw in the last part of the video where the rug is washed. So we use recycled rainwater that we've filtered through carbon filters to wash our rugs. So it's of course, it's always small details, but the devil is in the details. So there you go.
Exactly.
That's as it should be. Yes, I apologize for that. Of course, they sent us the presentation in Italian, so there you go. But I'm here to translate. Just an overview. We're very, very proud of our new space in Milan. So if you do come to Milan anytime, please pop in to see us. It's just next to the Duomo, the CCTP, right next to it. So it's a new space that this was the setup we did for the presentation, of course, of Fate to Good's work. But we've this is now actually today at the showroom. We've set it up museum-like. So it's an exhibition called Chromophobia. And it's the dialogue between, of course, rugs, primitive art, and extremely contemporary minimal art, as you see there.
Yeah,
so
we see David Simpson there, for example, the black one.
And of course, Fate to Good's rug next to it,
yeah.
and le statue sono?
African art.
African art, primitive art. So it's three rooms. The rugs decline in different colors as are the art. So what makes I spoke to a journalist this morning, and she was going, what makes a CCTP different? We really had to think about it.
Yeah,
we don't have a ready answer. I just think that it's just being curious. It's remaining true to what we are. So the craft, all the video you saw, that is the base of it. So it's the technique, it's the knotting, it's the fibers, it's being true to the technique and to the craft, but then innovating. And of course, we innovate through the interpretation of all these brilliant people's work. It goes, of course, from the Queen herself, Patrizia Urquiola, and I can assure you it's a pleasure to work with her. We started 2 years ago with Visioni, and this year we started last year with Visioni, and this year with Rotazioni. So you see, it's a very, very Urquiola language. We work with May Engelgard. Now, Daniele is a bit shy sometimes, but he's very careful, and I love that in working not only with these powerhouses, these brilliant, super well-known designers, but also with the young generation. The young generation maybe is a bit more, somebody was telling me before, naive, but I think that's what's really interesting in their work.
Here we work with the May Engelgard. She's coming from the Eindhoven school, so it's all this Dutch design school. I think they have very fresh ideas in a way that it's, I think, something very new actually.
It's always inspired by the past, because here, maybe if you know a bit of Italian design, if you know Milan, the 1980s, Ettore Sozzas, the Memphis group, but there again, it's something completely new. And what really, I'm the more superficial of the two. He's the intelligent
No.
one, and I'm the superficial one. But I loved the shapes and all that. But then, when you go and see the rug really in detail, the finishings, it's full of what do you call them?
It's different finishings.
Wow.
And it's all work of eye pile and shadings. I think we have more than 70 colors inside here also, if you don't see it.
So this is May. Faye, of course, that you have in the window display. We'll go maybe afterwards if you want. We can go actually in the window display and we'll tell you all about Faye. But it was brilliant working with her. And that's what's really, I think, today is what I love, is to meet all these people, that some are completely crazy and some are completely... I mean, you get... to see Faye Too Good in London, and you walk in, it's called the Too Good House, and they're all super kind people, and they're all dressed in white, you know, and they speak very slowly, and you sort of, you know, you think you're in a sort of I don't know, in paradise or something like that. But you know, they're really coherent with what they do, and Faye was really super kind, and she opened up for us her library of
samples,
materials,
fabrics,
and she was there, you know, with little twigs and saying, "Oh, this is beautiful. Look, you know," and bits of metal, and then she sat at the sewing machine and sewed to
stitching.
The stitch, and she was saying, "Look at the stitching. I love that." So she opened up her world to us, and then sort of we flew then from London direct to Kathmandu. With a bag full of twigs, really, and then we sat, Daniele, myself, and Jigme, who you saw in the video, for 3 days in our office in Kathmandu, and we really worked, and that was brilliant, in order to translate all that Faye had given us into what you see today, something that is Sisi Tapi. So I think when they ask us what is Sisi Tapi, it's really the craft, but at the service of all these different sensitivities, if that makes any sense anyway. So Faye, Zanellato Bortò, these are also two young guys from Venice, and it's a very, very romantic a rug, because it's inspired by the steps that go into the Canal Grande in Venezia. So, you know, it's very, very, very poetic. I love things that have a meaning somehow. I think nowadays in design, the idea of, you know, making pretty, oh, this looks pretty,
white
let's
canvas
make a rug.
Idea.
It's obsolete. Things need to have a meaning. Things need to mean something for you to understand it, and therefore to like it for a long time. Because a trend, of course, it's easy. It's 2 years and then it's over. These rugs are hand knotted, so it's rugs that last for a very long time. And, you know, it's cool if you sort of appreciate them for a very long time. No?
Yeah, exactly.
Chiara Andreatti. Here you really see the work, in the sense that we met Chiara, and she was working on these designs inspired, Western designs, inspired by the Wiener Werkstatt, so Vienna 1900, so very precise designs, very straightforward. And Daniele and I at the time were thinking of something Berber, something, you know, but then we didn't want to do Berber. You don't need us to do Berber. We've got plenty of Berber all over the place. So when we met her, and it's always somehow by chance, because we met her by chance, we chatted. We love
sharing ideas, like always.
Exactly. We're lucky because Milan is small. Milan is the capital of design, but it's actually quite small. So if you go out, if you go to happenings or events and all that, you come across everybody anyway. So you start chatting, and then if it sort of I don't know, works, then you make a rug, and the rug is beautiful. At least I shouldn't say that, but I think it looks beautiful. So in this case, the meeting of these rigorous designs and then this very large thread we produced gave birth to primitive weave, which I think is a hybrid, is something quite new, and something I love. I love all our rugs, so I'm going to tell you I love this, I love this, I love this, but it's true somehow. Alex, you have her work on the floor. She's also a young designer who just graduated from Eindhoven, So it's a Danish approach to design, which is also extremely interesting. Federico. Now, see here too. That's also another thing I like. You have designers, famous designers, young designers, but they're all designers, and they're not formatted. They're not formatted. Otherwise, Nancy will looks at me in a terrible way. But it's a standard way of working. You know, they know they have the vision. They know that, and it's cool. But in this case, Federico's an artist, so he has no idea of design. He comes from the art world, which is completely different, and then so the result is once again completely different, and somehow iconoclastic, and it's a bit like Faye's work. She's a stylist. She does clothes, and so it's different once again, and that's why it's interesting. Yeah. Everything I say is subjective, but I really believe in it. Okay. Studio Pepe, two young ladies from Milan, two stylists. I'm very proud of the work we did this year. Oh, wait a minute, they told me there's a brilliant thing here, but it doesn't work. Yes, it does. There you go. So I don't go and touch the screen every time. This project here we presented in Milan in April for the Design Week. And it was an apartment that this duo called Studio Pepe invested and really transformed. And we worked with them on
wall hanging.
Wall hangings, which was the first time we did. Yes. Roughly.
Also insert, this I think is a very new thing, inserting brass metal part. So it's the rugs, the fabrics also became an object in a way. So this is, I think, was the interesting thing of this project here.
You also have in the window display, the one further left is also something that has been imagined as a wall
tapestry,
hanging, not a rug, because if you walk over that stuff, you're going to hurt yourself. Then you have Garth Roberts, after party. These are confetti after a party on the floor. And of course, Daniele's work with all the design team in Milan, interpreting what really is Sissi Tapi, I fondamenti.
Actually, this was our first design, I think.
The first design we did together.
6 years ago.
This is inspired by the work. It looks very contemporary, but it's actually the work of Gio Ponti, the father of Italian design. And it's the times, the 50s, so Albini, all these great designers that made Italian design what it is today. And it's great to reinterpret because once again things have a meaning. This design comes from the 1930s, but at the same time it's also a very ancient Japanese pattern, the dragon scale. The one over there, which also looks very Milan 1980s. It's actually a reinterpretation of
a razzle-dazzle.
The razzle-dazzle design, which was the camouflage for British warships in First World War. This is once again a different language. It's our Traces de Mémoire collection. So it's inspired by ancient designs like Aubusson here or Savonnerie here. So these are French designs that I know the trend is a bit that, so to have these scratch things, but here too it's on ancient designs.
Yeah, and the interesting thing on the one on the right especially, that we use a lot of undyed wool. So you have this kind of patina, but it's obtained in a natural way, so it's not like distressed by acid washing or whatever. And so this was our interpretation of this kind of concept of the ancient design.
Wow. Guys, Daniel has never talked so much. It's really cool. This is again the Traces de Mémoire. So the one on the left is a batik design, but here too it was also already used in a theatre in Amsterdam in the 1930s. I just think you need to be curious about things and try to understand where they come from so that you can make it yours and then make it fit to our times. Very pretentious to say something like that, but you know, I believe it. The dipped collection, now this is all about fibers. So we worked at the moment, we worked with Louis Vuitton and we did the rugs for their showrooms, for their shops. And so they had very specific requirements about shedding, about a lot of things. And so we found aloe. Aloe is a natural fiber, and it's quite rough, but it has depth, and it's really beautiful. So we fell in love. When I say we, is
we
with the hat. Fell in love with the fiber, and so worked on it. So I don't know if you really see it here, but no, I'm supposed to use this. There you go. This part is all undyed, and it's made by blending aloe and silk and aloe and wool undyed. And then you have these color cuts that come in that, of course, totally customizable. Everything we do is customizable to fit the project where it's required. And so you have these color cuts that come in and make it really sexy, I think. There you go. Vuoi aggiungere qualcosa?
No, perfetto.
Right, so we're going to be a bit glamorous here, and we're going to just talk to you about all the wonderful people that talk about us. It is true, once again, we're lucky. We're very lucky because we live in Milan. Italy has a lot of problems, but it still is a place where things happen. And with the fact of having all these big designers and big editors there, the dialogue is continuous. So even the magazines, this is wallpaper with, in this case it was a dipped, not the shoe, but the rug behind it. It's the dipped frame we made. This is May's work you saw before. So really magazines love us, and we don't pay them, so somehow it's really cool they love us. You see, this is again an apartment in Milan, done using Hello Sonia. This is the El Décor in France, so this is an apartment in Lyon with the wall hanging you saw before. This is Beautiful Us for the El Décor Japan. So actually, there you have the three of us. This is my wife, myself and Daniele. Rotazioni, you saw the work of Patricio Orchiola, that's the El Décor in Italy. Gioia, so this is more fashion-like. But it's what I really like, and you see it also with the collaborations, is how the rug, and architects are really starting to understand this, is how the rug actually is really important in a project. Once upon a time, architects would concentrate, on the building, on the walls, on the ceilings, the lights, the floor, whatever, and then just forget about the rug and leave the final client free to choose whatever they want. And very often,
we are trying to changing that.
Yes, because you put the wrong rug in and it kills everything. You put the right rug in and it just brings it all together. And so it's just a few examples of course, all and there's Patricia with her Visione rug. We also, this is another thing, we also produce rugs for other brands. So it's not Sissi Tapi, but it's Polyform, Giorgetti, Dried, and so on. And what I really like in these cases, it's that the work is done to enhance the identity of the brand, not Sissi Tapi, the brand. And it's a bit like when we work with the designers, it's to really put forward their identity and their sensitivity. Well, here it's the same. It's Zanotta that uses our rugs for their catalogs. It's Foscarini. And you see, every time the rug adapts to the identity or actually enhances the identity of the brand. And it's cool to say, oh, we work with so-and-so, but it's really that I like. It's the fact that the rugs change every time. Just maybe a last word about CC for Education. My wife is not here tonight, but I must admit she's the heart of Sissi Tapi. The head is there. I'm sort of chat a lot, and my wife is the heart of Sissi Tapi. And when you visit Nepal, and you meet Tibetan people, you can't help to fall in love with them. And it is true that they give us a lot. So we founded CC for Education, so it's our non-profit organization, and there is a part of the income of CCTP that goes to CC for education, but we're also trying to open it up, because the more children we send to school, the better it is. So we're starting, of course, with the children of our weavers. So we've taken care of the wives, now of the children, and it's just a way of giving things back. So there you go. I've tried to make it really concise, not to bore you too much, but if you do have questions on what's been said for the moment, I'd be very, very happy to answer. Or Daniele can be very happy to answer. There you go. If you don't have questions, maybe I can just show you a few pictures of the idea behind, and Daniele can tell you about this, the idea behind the installation, or the inventory installation of Fade to Good, and then we actually go in the window display and really dirty all that beautiful white carpet there. Huh? And so I just continue, and it's there. There you go. Prego.
Now, basically, the idea of the installation is to create the atmosphere or the face world. So basically, this is, and we got inspired that this is a work of Eric Murillo, he's an artist, and with Fade we decided to create this environment. You see it because the rugs are actually very subtle, sober. It's not a loudy design. It's not bold. It's not graphic. So you need to see them in a space that can explain all this world. So the idea is this is the example of the installation of the mood board, because all the works, the inventory collection, there are 10 rugs. Now here we have a selection of 5, but the main idea of all rugs is to enhance the craftsmanship of the Tibetan weave. So without using colors, actually there is just one color, is the black, and everything is undyed. So everything you can see there is totally undyed. There's no color in all the collection. So this mainly was the idea, is to create an environment to appreciate the project in the correct way. This is the idea. And then also to explain the thing, we did a campaign, a photographic campaign, and we decided to print them in the same materials with the curtain are made. So with stitching together, like she did with the samples they gave us before starting to Nepal and create the project. So in all these stitch fabrics together, we found a new technique of printing, and we print them, or we print that in this kind of fabric, all the picture of the campaign. So this is more or less the concept we decided to use to create this event. So those are the rugs you can see here, and we have one more, that is the quilt, it's the black one. And that's it. This was the event we did in April in our showroom. And and this is the info shops, so how we transform your window actually. and that's it, so we can go to see the project, and we will explain everything there.